Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Just scared me. Just scared me. When I said it was chilling, I meant it.
Oh, you were off in the zone.
Excuse me. So yeah, for introduce the stream in proper instead of scaring me.
No, I would rather scare you, honestly. So yes, welcome back to part. What is this? 7, 8? I don't know. We're on chapter 9. Yeah, it doesn't matter. What does matter is today is the 4th of July, and we are playing this amazing American game, which very much mirrors America's war on the sky. Because we all know the sky is communist, and we have to destroy it for freedom. So every year we celebrate by waging war on the sky. So last week we went to the sky. Lightning, part of the National Guard, very American, was killing communists on the sky ship, which is their fortress in the sky. Snow, a rebel without a cause, kind of like James Dean, was there too. They were both sozzing it up. So we have both lightning and snow, weather patterns that are fighting against the sky because they know that the sky is bad. It's full of communists. We have to fight for freedom. And they all have hope that they can turn the tide and make the world free again. But the two communist spies from Super Australia are there as well. We have Vanille and Fang, who have nothing to do with anything. And yeah, so that's where we're at. I'm hoping to see some drag racing action.
Are you leaving Sass out because he's black?
No, Saz is like the pure American. So he is who we are fighting for. Everything that is going on is for Saz. Because he is everything American. He is apple pie, that man. So yeah, we are in the Sky Fortress right now, in their evil fortress of communism. We're gonna go destroy the communists.
We're basically going to kill the communist pope.
Yes, we are going to kill the communist pope, who is very likely on this Sky Fortress, and then we'll probably have a drag racing segment, maybe some explosions, and then someone will shoot a gun because. No, apple pie is not British. Apple pie is American. Just like the American anthem is American and the Brits took it. Just like how this game was made by Square Enix of America and exported to Japan. All right, so let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
And dive back in. So now we are playing as Mr. Apple Pie here. He is exercising his Second Amendment rights. He carries guns wherever he goes.
True. 2 of them,
for
actually.
Freedom. 2 of them, yes, exactly.
So yeah, what's more American than that carrying 2 guns at the same time that can also combine into a rifle? Not sure if it's very American to shoot the police, but...
That is communist police, so it's okay.
True.
Speaking of, I need to update my pheromones.
Yeah, you have to update.
No, I don't want to attack. Yes, Cocoon does have open carry. Oh, there is that. Okay, well, carry on.
So, see that Saz now has the 4th ATB bar combo. The final attack combines the twin guns into a rifle.
Mate. That is the most American thing ever. Guns that turn into bigger guns.
Yes.
Okay.
It's sad that the 13 collaboration with 14 was so early in game that the machinist class didn't exist yet. Because imagine including Sass's combined rifle as playable weapon.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
I mean, like in the same vein that now we have Dancer and hopes Boomerang would make a great throwing weapon instead of being a whatever the hell the abomination is, the Grimoire. And I still got the Airwing Grimoire because yes.
Don't touch it, Vanille. It's a big red button. Only Americans can touch it. And you can tell he's American because his accent isn't fun.
What about the paradigms? Well, for a preemptive strike against the flan, you don't really need paradigms.
Oh, I know. But I have the freedom to use them.
There is no freedom paradigm.
Every paradigm is 5-star. So yes, I also want to specify that Psycom are all communist infiltrators that have infiltrated the government. And that is why they always come from the sky.
So they are basically the KGB.
Yes, exactly.
Now they're going to start healing each other, which is annoying.
Yes, not me.
That was a nice change of paradigm shot as Blitz happened.
Yeah.
Didn't even have to ask.
No, definitely the KGB. Inside the suit.
Bullseye. Thanks, Vanille.
I mean, there's not much about There's not much to comment about killing flans.
No, there really isn't.
To the victor go the
I'm trying to make it interesting. They're communists.
As Neela would say, we're trying to make it fantastic.
Yes, thank you.
I don't take credit for that one. He said that he pulled that one in my Lord Dive run.
as Liberty Prime would say, communism is the very definition of failure. Which I am now applying to these films. Yes, Final Fantasy XIII Snake Eater. Or as I called it, Final Fight Against Communism 13. The re-return of communism.
That's absolutely nightmare.
It is.
You know, I'm not sure if I ever share this one, but there was a Spanish politician who once said, now that we're on communists, I think he says something like, in each generation, there's always someone who says, communism didn't work because we weren't the ones in charge.
Wow.
And I have to say, it's probably one of the most accurate lines, not just in Spanish politics, but in everything after, well, after the Second World War.
I have no word.
I mean, there's no rebuttal to that.
No.
Kill the flan. You're still using 4 paradigms, right?
What's that?
You're still using 4 paradigms given to you by the default.
Yes, that is.
I'm just curious to see how long it lasts.
I need to go to the Crystarium.
Go to the Crystarium, the Mangra Hatia, to give you abilities.
No, but I am free to set them as I see fit.
Elegant node.
Alright. There's like no commando stuff. Alright, so how's you're gonna be commando?
Yeah. Probably for the best. I mean, I'm still here looking at every time you upgrade the Crystarium for the characters, I just check the strength and magic levels just to afterwards compare with Hope.
I mean, that's fair. We all know Vanilla's a communist saboteur.
And she's going to get to saboteur level 3.
I don't know how loud the Sky War is going to get tonight, but I'm assuming it'll be fairly. As soon as it gets dark here. They've been going for about a week.
Oh.
Yes, she is a double agent and Fang is her handler. That is a perfect fit this week. Because Fang actually has a gaming call.
Perhaps I will have level up Ravager, but I will go Ravager, Saboteur, and Synergist, Medic. Yeah. We haven't read data log, but it's fine. You can keep going.
I mean, we can read. I just have a sense of urgency now.
Go.
This thing's gonna keep us out.
Oh, do you see the mark there in the door?
No, I missed it.
No, oh. Sad. Well, if you find another of those doors, then I would say to check it.
Is it Garlemald? Is Garlemald back?
No. This is Cocoonian, so it's kind of a bit different. Somewhat different.
Code purple. I repeat, code purple. Security breach. All units on alert. Code purple. Looks like we ain't the only ones cleaning house. Could be Lucy.
Ah, I forgot to mention Brigadier General Rain.
Let's go get rescued.
No, not this time.
He uses the communist
For
zone
once
tools
in my
against them,
life, I am going to save her.
namely this guy.
All right, now you're talking. Let's go.
We went from code red to code green to code purple.
That's how you know it's bad.
Code purple. I repeat, code
Soon they'll go to code plaid.
security breach. All units on alert. Code purple.
All these colors. What's it mean?
Means we're doing our job. Making a lot of SciComm guys nervous.
Who are they fighting?
Anil.
Oh, thank God. That was a very short segment.
Let's hurry it up. Anil's waiting.
There's not even time to catch your breath.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, I don't know which way to go.
Follow the arrow. You see the yellow arrow? That's your MSQ
Yeah,
marker.
but I want to go this way because it looks like there's... Oh, this is where I came from.
Uh-huh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I remember.
And it's an entire hallway of people, so...
Yes. Vikings. How
3 of
dare
them.
you?
Change of plan.
Fighting 3 of these things at the same time is something I would go synergies for.
Yeah, I did.
Good thing Hope knows what he has to do, and the first thing he does is cast Dark Fire. You know the thing, I'm currently playing Fire Emblem Three Hopes and Fire Emblem Warriors, and it was already in 3 houses. But I'm currently going with the Leicester Lions path, and one of the characters, Judith, the hero of Daphne, she's voiced by Rachel Robinson, who is Fang's voice actor, and it's like. I went from playing Fire Emblem to stream 13, and I'm hearing and I'm having like this voice actor thing, you know.
Yeah. I've never played a Fire Emblem music.
It's I mean, if you like tactics games, yeah, it's very.
I do. I've just never played them.
We do have to make you play Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh, it's on the list. I was telling a friend of mine about it, and he was like, "That should be the first thing you play." I was like, "But it's not on Steam."
Nah, that's true.
And he suggested an emulator. We do have a PSP copy of LoreLines, but
I mean, I play World Alliance on Android, but I'm not sure if you can stream that.
meh. Wow, what's the first one called? These guys got kind of easy. Or was that just the saboteur?
Well,
The saboteur.
combining Saboteur with Hope's defensive spells, it makes life easier. I mean, there is a reason why basically the triad of Lightning, Hope, and Fang is widely considered the best team, for the best party to play 13 with.
I mean, yeah, this thing, like, once they go up, they just stay up. They never come down.
So, yeah.
Oh, boo, I can't see treasure. I don't know what these things are, but I'm about to find it.
Gotta be a way through here somewhere.
Those
Oh,
things.
I remember hating these things.
These things. They're going to make you hate wind. Unless you are like the Florida man.
I am. He is my state mascot.
No, that was quick. I think at this point I'm slightly not concerned, but concern is not the word. Just more like surprised at myself at how efficient I have been guiding you to make Hope into a casting magic tactical nuke.
I mean, it's been pretty great.
I call bullshit on that not preemptive strike.
We can win if we stay
Nah, he turned around at the last minute. You got me now. Yes.
Oh, there's the mark on the floor. See that mark on the brand-like thing in the floor?
Oh, yeah, I see that.
After you...
Sanctum.
No, after you... It's in the door too. After you deal with these guys, you can go check from up closer, and I'll explain what it is.
Steady now.
Look at me.
I hate those lizards.
new strategy.
Someone's about to fly.
Thanks.
So much for the Thermodon.
You can switch to aggression and use your linear fang melting.
This is just bullying at this point.
Yeah. Death by water.
Oh, I got a guy's paycheck. Ha!
So, you see the mark over there? Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
So, you do recall the
Looks like a praying mantis with a hat.
So you see the pulse brand with the arrows and everything. That's the brand, basically the glyph of the falsy god Pulse. This one, though largely said to be the mark of Sanctum Lesi, it's more like Cocoonian Lesi and mark of the falsy, because this brand is the brand of Lindsay, who is Pulse's twin, sort of brother, falsy god.
Okay.
So you, if you can imagine, just to imagine, Cocoon is kind of Lindsay's turf, and Pulse and Grand Pulse is Pulse's turf. Though, and they are called in the lore, they call the twin deities, which perhaps may give you some hint that maybe this is not exactly about a war. Maybe.
I mean, if they're twin deities, they're probably like coordinating with each other at the high level. Kind of like in real life.
Now I just activated Cobb's conspiracy brain theory.
I mean, it doesn't take much.
Nah, fair. But you would perhaps miss it. I'm sorry, it's just I see the magic levels and it's like... Veil, that's great. So Veil is basically anti-debuff protection.
No, no. Yep.
I hate when that happens. And snow.
The highest stat here is Meowth simping for Hope stat.
I'm not a simp, okay? Well, yeah.
Oh no, you totally.
It's... How can I... I think I would never get to properly explain what's Meowth's thing regarding Hope. It's a bit complicated.
Let's see what this white cape does.
I don't actually
Thirst,
remember.
then. I would not describe it as thirst.
No. It's difficult. It's difficult to put into words, and it doesn't have to do with fictional crushes or anything like that. No, in fact, it's nothing of the like. But it's difficult for me to explain. It's a character that resonates deeply with me, and I wouldn't be. I'm not really sure why. If I told you how the circumstances of my first ever contact with the 13th verse, you would probably laugh or consider Meowth is kind of crazy. It's a bit of a long story.
I mean, we have time.
That's fair. So, this was like 10 years ago or so. Back at the time, my first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, and back at 2010, more or less, it was when, well, I think it was 2008, more or less, anyways. it released Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2. It was for the DS, not 3DS, DS. Tactics Advance 2 properly takes place on the 12 universe. And it wasn't until one of my YouTube forays or into the wiki in the Final Fantasy wiki forays that I learned that there was that the summons, the espers, had their version in the proper Final Fantasy 12. I was maybe I think I was 15 or 16 years old. And when I found that compilation video of Final Fantasy 12's summons, considering my only contact with all of them had been in the meager DS, I was fascinated. But and you're probably wondering, why are you talking about Final Fantasy 12 when we're supposedly talking about your contact with Final Fantasy 13? Well, you're going to laugh at this. Because for like imagine myself like a month or so being so fascinated that I basically watch that compilation video every day on YouTube. I'm like that. And you know YouTube, and you know YouTube by the side suggestions, right? You know that's like So there I was watching something, I don't know what exactly it was, and I decided to go back and watch the compilation video of the summons in 12, and I misclicked, and because I misread, instead of 12 it was 13, which at that time, 2010, it was more or less the year it had been released. And I clicked on that, and I was like, it was this second of, oh fuck, I actually misclicked. And I could have gone backwards to go for the right video. But I decided to, why not? And the rest is history.
See, I did not think that's where that was going to go. I thought that you were going to make the same mistake that a lot of people who are new to Final Fantasy make, which is not realizing that the games are all not connected. Yeah. And you were probably like, oh, 12 was really good. I can't wait to see what happens next. Let me get 13.
No, it had nothing to do. And okay. I was... So you're getting at the idea, my only contact with Final Fantasy had been the Tactics series and Final Fantasy 1 and 2. No other contact. So, I mean, of course I knew Final Fantasy, but nothing particular, not invested. Until, well, I had started to watch 12 because I couldn't, I never was a PS anything kid. I am a Nintendo kid. And anyways, fortunately, Sony and other companies port to PC, so I can play now. And I have the Switch for Nintendo games. But back then I couldn't. So most of my gaming experience was watching playthroughs through YouTube.
Nah. Oh, this is...
Yeah.
Zanetta says, or Zental says that they learned that lesson going from 7 to 8. The games were not connected.
So yeah,
I can only imagine booting up Final Fantasy VIII and be like, "Where's Cloud?"
No, well, I mean that was kind of what happened to me when I was 7 years old, and my father gifted me Final Fantasy Tactics Advance. That was my first Final Fantasy ever. I was 7 years old, and I thought that every Final Fantasy game's world setting was Ivalice.
Yep.
I know, but that illusion sort of dispelled 2 years after, or 1 year after, when he gifted me the remaster remake of Final Fantasy 1 and 2 for the Game Boy Advance. So and I was kind of confused, like, this is not Ivalice? Why? So my Final Fantasy upbringing has been a bit weird.
No, I wouldn't say so.
I mean, it's been a bit weird because the titles that have most left a mark on me are probably the most despised titles on by the fandom, which puts me in a strange position.
It does. Zental says it was more, what the fuck is this, trying to figure out the junction system. You know, those of us that knew that each game was separate did the same thing.
So,
such a broken system. I love the junction system though. It was broken as hell.
When I was, you can go to the mark, but if you want to grind, I won't blame you for that. I was going to say. So imagine me being fascinated with Final Fantasy XII and later Final Fantasy XIII, which captivated me in a way that I'm not sure how to explain it. And at the time I wasn't even going into lore diving as I have been for a number of years now. So my knowledge of the at the time only 13 was on the surface, but for some reason that I think in some level my brain sort of recognized. That's weird to say, but I mean that's the only explanation I can find. I knew that I wanted to go deeper into the game. I knew that there was something more, but first insight, I don't know. I don't know if my brain's just connected or sense that there was a lot of things going on. I mean, it's weird. I mean, it's even weirder because when I mentioned about Hope, when I saw the first time ever, I saw that the Dolan Summon compilation for Final Fantasy for 13. First ever contact with Final Fantasy 13. Of course, it showcases all of the characters, and there was an instant connection with Hope. Like, not as deep as right now, but there was something in my brain that immediately went, this is my favorite. This is all this cast. This one is my favorite, and I can't explain why. It's just something that just happened.
I know why. His little neckerchief.
What?
His handkerchief around his neck. Bandana. That's why. Like, you see that and you're like, this guy.
No, I mean...
Zental says, I'd say Final Fantasy VIII left the biggest mark on me due to having the same attitude as well. Same, Zental said. I bought a PlayStation 1 for Final Fantasy VIII. I did not buy one for Final Fantasy VII.
I mean, from the classics, my knowledge is relatively. I mean, it's not. I mean, I read about most of them, but the only classic I properly play myself is 9, which I really enjoy playing 9 because the system is kind of similar to 13 in the sense that there's ATB bars and the skill learning system is like in tactics. So I was like, okay, this is, I can understand this game. But
so I almost really want to sit you down and make you play 6.
Oh. 6. I mean, I've considered it, but I'm not sure if I'm up to the challenge because I always hear how difficult it is, and it's like.
6 isn't difficult, not at all. 6 is, you can break 6 really easily. But 6, in my opinion, has the best characters in the Final Fantasy series, hands down.
I appreciate the 6 cast. I admit I haven't gone extremely deep into the 6 cast. I wouldn't compare any other cast to the 13 cast the way I see it, but that's probably because, well, my own experience. But there's one thing I can say, and it's that, and I know many people would lynch me on the street for saying this, but I feel my personal feelings is that people
Let's keep this up.
overhype Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, I agree. I completely agree. And Zental says 8 left such a deep mark because unlike 7, which was totally fantasy, 8 has more real-world relatable themes with fantasy elements. Yeah, I agree with that, actually. I felt like the characters in 8 were more real.
I haven't played 8, but from what I know, the 8 cast and the 8 story appeal to me more than the 7 cast. To be fair, though, I have to, and it's kind of sad because it kind of prevents me from properly, objectively enjoying what 7 has to offer. Because I'm not saying it's a bad game at all. I mean, if people like it, it's because it has to be good, you know. But
I would say so. I would argue that a lot of people like 7 because it was their first Final Fantasy game.
That too, nostalgia has a big factor into that.
And I won't lie, when I first played 7 the very first time, I did have a negative opinion of playing the game. But after playing it, I was like, you know what, this is not a bad game. It's a pretty decent game. It's not my favorite. It's not even my favorite PS1 Final Fantasy, but it's not a bad Final Fantasy game.
The problem is that, well, my problem, so to speak, is first that I consider it overhyped. Not to say that's a bad game. Second, as a 12 and 13 fan, and 10 years ago, and even today, we were the 13 fandom and the 12 fandom. We weren't very. How should I put this? You know the usual things about you hear about Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 12. Most of them.
Yeah, they're both terrible.
Yeah, and which Final Fantasy they used to compare these games with usually. You can imagine. So it's more like
11.
No. No. 11?
No, yeah.
11,
I get
as
you.
far as I know, 11 kind of sneak around like fairly unharmed for considering how much hate people gave to 14 1.0. And 11 managed to kind of tiptoe in like it's kind of a game that not many people know about, but I haven't heard many complaints during that era about 11.
So, yeah, there weren't, just because it came out at a time where people just didn't know better. And not as many people were online, and then people were like, oh, that's the online Final Fantasy game, it's not a real Final Fantasy game. So, I've been playing through it, and like now that I've actually figured out some of the systems, it's a decent game, just with a horrible clunky interface. But
Yeah.
I'm going through the story, I'm like, this is really good. It's just stupidly spread out.
I mean, if they actually went and remade the game as a, get rid
As a
of the
proper single player.
yeah, I mean, they basically made it single player. At this point, they have to. I mean, Yoshi P and the 14 team are already aiming 14 to get
I mean,
ready
it
for that.
It pretty much is a single player game at this point. With the trust, you can do everything with trust.
That means
Code Blue, is someone having a heart attack? She doesn't even know. Wow.
orange. That would mean
The escapees made it through. They're entering the engine room.
no. Damn the sea.
I knew it. Snow and lightning are on the weather deck.
Weather deck, starboard side.
Oh, here comes rain. We're just naming colors at this point.
There was an explanation as for why Jill Nabat lost her temper on that scene with the colors, because with the havoc the team's creating, it had caused many color-coded protocols to go off at the same time. So that's why she doesn't know which color is what, because there's at that point it should have been Code Rainbow.
Yeah, Code Plaid. Hey, Amber Fireheart, thank you for the raid and the host. Appreciate it.
Thank you. You check the paradigms. Yeah, sorry, I was.
Yeah, we already changed it. We fixed Vanille's terrible paradigms. They're done. Back to America Man.
I would kill the Vespids first.
Yeah, I realized that. Look at that. That right there is American freedom.
You know what they say? Aim for the moon, and at least if you fall, at least you'll fall among the stars or suffocate in space.
I think. Oh, damn it. I think it's suffocating in space. I think that's very likely.
F. See, this is why I said that you would come to hate these things.
You're right. When I had hope, I didn't care. They were like, whatever.
Yeah.
But now I'm with Saz and the inferior one. And, hey, preemptive strike. Let's try this again.
Preemptive strike. Use that preemptive
Right,
strike to dispose of the...
My man.
Of the best pits. Now that we're discussing characters, you still thinking that Saz is objectively your favorite character?
So far he is by far the most relatable character. And did I do it again? Come on, heal him. Yeah.
I mean,
he's busy spreading freedom with bullets.
Yes. So, I mean, there's something with this game that as you grow older, you realize many things, and Saz is one of these things you come to appreciate even more than first playthrough like 10 years ago when I was it's like first playthrough or first walkthrough I watched a 13 play at the time. Me and my stupid me being 16 years old, thinking that Lightning with 21 being 21. She was an adult, and now I'm 27 to 28, and I'm like, how the fuck did I ever think that Lightning, Snow, and these people were ever adults?
Yeah, they're all a bunch of kids. But I will say that most people who don't think Saz is the best character in this game are probably under 30.
Yeah, well, except me, everything. But I appreciate them for different reasons.
Yeah.
I
love Lightning.
Lightning is a really solid character, and she may not be the most deep character of this cast, but she's fairly deep, and she's definitely not the. It always annoys me when people reduce Lightning's character to female Claude.
Oh, she's definitely not that. She's way better.
True. True. There's no discussion about that.
Zental says, sadly saying Saz is the best is like choosing your favorite bland biscuit.
No, but Saz is a really great character in terms of he's a character not usually seen in Final Fantasy or RPGs for that matter.
Yeah, he's really not. And actually, there's a lot of character archetypes that aren't really seen in Final Fantasy in 13.
Yeah, exactly. The trope of the ragtag bunch of misfits is already in other Final Fantasies, but in this case, it feels more realistic to me in the sense that one of the things that you pointed out in I think it was maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago was that effectively the game starts with the player looking at the cast and being like, I'm not really. I hate these people, and they hate themselves. They hate each other. How the fuck do?
Yep.
How the fuck?
Yeah, it's like when I first played the game, the first time I tried playing it, I was like, I hate all of these characters. There is no one I connect with, and I thought Saz was a joke. Lightning was a psychopath. Snow was an asshole. And Ope was annoying. And I was like, and I liked Vanille, and I was like, I was wrong about all these people. Now, I like all the other characters, and I hate Vanille.
I mean, for the record, I like all of them. I just because I know, but because this game makes you relate to the characters through their flaws that you later turn, that it pays off by later seeing their best qualities, not introduce you. It's a different form. It's a reverse formula. Instead of introducing you to a character to the usual, see their virtues, then in their darkest time you see the flaws. This game does the reverse. It makes you connect by the flaws, and then you see and then pays off with the virtues.
I can't help but wonder if the game would have been received any differently if it started with day one, and you actually play through the game from day one to up to the purge train, and then it continues from there without the flashbacks. And I get that it was a popular storytelling method at the time. I just am not a huge fan of it.
Yeah, I like the storytelling that way, but for me it creates a sense of intrigue. But I understand that it's not for everyone. So it's kind of a gamble. You either like it or you don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah, usually that kind of storytelling just annoys me. The same thing happened with Lost. I could not stand it because I was like, by the time you're showing me the character's past, like, I don't care about that character now, and I'm like, okay, you're adding more context to help me like the character, but I've already formed an opinion about them,
Yeah, the thing with 13 is that the flashbacks are there to give you more context, but even if you didn't have that flashback context, what matters, what it's really important of their stories is their present, not their past. So it works because yes, we do see the flashbacks, but they could have honestly forego the cutscenes and just say it in game, and it would have been the same effect. What matters in this game is not their backstories, but what they're living in the moment.
Right. And Zentel says they tried to use the listen to my story trope from 10. I guess 10 did it a lot more effectively because, like, at the beginning of 10, you're like, oh my god, did they lose? What's going on? And then, you have that intrigue and you instantly are like, oh, what's going on? Who are these characters? I want to know more about them. Like, they don't give you any characterization except for Titus when he's like, hey, listen to what's going on. And then you play up to that point and you're like, oh man, okay, this is...
I haven't played 10. I'm not very knowledgeable. Oof. I'm not very knowledgeable of 10, and the reason I haven't really grown interested in 10 is because of the very same, sadly, because of the very same reason of 7. There's the other stupid part of the fandom who says that Final Fantasy ended with Final Fantasy 10, and that's the kind of comments that annoy me greatly because it's the same in Pokemon. I mean, there's one thing I can say. If there's a fandom worse than Final Fantasy Final Fantasy in terms of nostalgia, that's Pokemon. And that's why I avoid the Pokemon fandom like the plague.
I've heard the argument that Final Fantasy ended with Final Fantasy X. I disagree with it based on my reasoning, like that same line of reasoning. I would say that it ended with 9 because 9 was the last Final Fantasy game with a true world map. So that's just my take on it. But I know there's a lot of preconceptions based on the fandom, but fandoms tend to ruin things more than promote them well.
I usually keep to myself.
I would highly recommend playing through 10. 10 is a fantastic Final Fantasy game.
I've heard, and then I heard different, very, very different opinions on 10 too. Most people praise it anyways. I mean, I've heard criticism over the story, which I can see from the little I've seen of it, though I can judge because I haven't played it. But many people say that the gameplay and is really nice.
It was ridiculous, but it was a good follow-up. Like, it was interesting, the character development was good, I enjoyed 10 too. Zentel says, that's why 13 was so-so, it was like using a lesser version of something successful in favor of flashy graphics, which I guess Crystal Tools would be. And 9 was good too and cut deep, but I never had an issue with the art style as others did. I personally did have a huge issue with the art style, I could not get around it. 9 was medieval style because it was a medieval setting. I got that in the first cutscene, which is classic Final Fantasy. I remember when 9 came out, people were really excited about having a classic Final Fantasy game after 7 and 8 being kind of hyper-futuristic, going back to Final Fantasy's roots.
Yeah, but sometimes, I mean, I like 9. I really consider it a great game in many ways, but the art style can be off-putting for some people.
It grates on me. That's just me.
But for me, I mean, I don't really mind. But I think there's, I think the worst decision Square Enix made in regards to Final Fantasy was changing Final Fantasy Versus 13 into Final Fantasy 15.
I wouldn't say that's their greatest mistake, but I think that was a huge
one of
mistake.
the greatest. Let's leave it at one of the greatest. Because it caused a lot of trouble, it caused a lot of change in direction, it changed a lot of having to retcon things from the lore that of the 13 compilation, adjust to a new Final Fantasy.
15 doesn't have lore.
And then leaving things out of the loop, so to speak, leaving things to DLCs.
What I will say about 15 is a fantastic story told horribly. And that's kind of my take on 15. Like, I enjoyed it. It was a fun game. It was just an absolute mess. But I like parts of 15 that most people hated. Like the original chapter 13, I loved. And most people really didn't like that. So much that they completely changed that chapter. So I'm in the vast minority.
Which one was that?
I did enjoy it.
Which one is that? I mean, I have watched 15, but...
So that's the one in the capital when they all get split up. And Noctis is by himself, and you have to use the ring.
When they're in the capital of the Empire?
Yes. So that chapter was very unpopular with people. I loved it because of thematically what it represented, and I thought it was fantastic. It was kind of annoying, but it wasn't overly hard. But a lot of people really did not like it. And there were some archetypes in 15, like Aranea, which I really liked, that I hadn't seen in Final Fantasy since 6. So I was really happy to see that.
The pearl. I mean, I'm a bit salty about. I'm a bit salty about that. But anyways, I'll go because you're about to hit cutscene. I think.
Ah. Dang it. Doors are only weakness. If only there was a way to open.
Well, isn't this great?
I would perhaps suggest a summon. You do have
For
the
these two?
Huh?
For these two?
Yeah, because the lizard is annoying, and the best speed is vulnerable to fire, and Saz's Eidolon Brynhilder is fire elemental. No, it's in techniques.
I summon Brunhilde!
Be American, shoot it. Freedom!
There you are. About time you showed up.
So when I tell you to go Gestalt mode, you press X, okay?
Oh, you know I'm not paying attention, so thank you.
No, it's just to make sure you do the most. Change to. No, it's fine. No, don't change. Go keep attention. She's doing her thing. I think you can change into Ravager, but you're about to hit X in a moment. Go. Press X.
I hit it right before you said it, because
Oh.
I was about to run out of gate.
Yeah, I was checking the god.
Ah, drag racing! I called it. Look at that. Drag racing, explosions, and guns.
Do it. Eidolons, start your engines.
Go. Broom, broom, broom.
Let's go, let's go. Fast coming through.
You may see that perhaps it's not much damage, but you're seeing if you see the ATB gauge is making it go high.
Time to
Yeah.
wrap this up.
That's
Come on.
stagger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was literally joking about drag racing when we started, and then Saz jumps into a freaking drag car and just drifts around. And he really is American. Oh my god.
I would go Saboteur for this annoying thing. Would make stagger easy.
Oh, in peril, thank God. Now give me end some.
Yeah, you need synergist for that. Synergist. But anyways. Okay, it's be protect and be shelled.
Watch and learn, kid.
Car has a V8 in it, like the juice. Nah, I'm just.
And fire.
Thanks, Vanille.
There we go. And fire and in peril. It's over. It's over, Plies.
Yeah, just stagger it and the thing is pretty much fried.
I know what you meant, Satal. I'll just go to sleep.
I'm going to refresh. I'm doing it quick. Never ceases to amaze me how fucking broken Imperial plus N spells are.
I mean,
very combination.
yeah.
Can you stop?
That's right. The wind is dying down. That means freedom is coming.
The wind, it's dying down.
Yeah, it's stopping. And we're decelerating. They up to something?
I don't suppose it could just be, I don't know, good luck?
That looks a lot more like bad luck.
You got a point.
Not to me.
Lame.
That we can do something about.
And refresh because I realized it was kind of too. Oh, and I realized that I was streaming two things at the same time, which doesn't help at all.
Oh, well, that would, I don't know, I'm sure there's something needed explaining. That explains.
You're looking it out with two fast speeds, right?
Target to target.
Two.
Well,
Huh.
now one. Kill it, kill it. I mean, Eroga is great when it's Hope who casts it.
Ready for the next fight.
True that.
Not the other way around.
These guys are bitches. Face CM. What is CM? I don't know.
I think you're ahead of me again.
I'm very ahead of you.
Ah,
You were telling me to kill the other one, and I was like, I'm already out of the fight.
well,
Oh, Cam. Yeah, I hate pants too much. Okay.
come on, stupid.
Then I gotta worry about lighting setup and all that stuff.
You have to tell me if it's closer to.
Fighting Vikings and some Psychom Dragoons. They're busy helping the floor. Keep from flying.
I'm
As Dragoons.
a
We
bit
can win
behind.
if we
Yeah.
stay focused.
Not too far.
No, but it irks me because it's like it sounds weird when I'm reacting to things and you just reacted. So it's like, I mean, even though I know the game pretty well, but
Yeah, but I mean, it's still fun to react to things as they happen, not, after the fact.
yeah.
So I get. Unfortunately, it's a limitation of how we're being forced to stream this. So
That and that the stream is going from America to Europe to America again. So
well, no, it's going from America to Twitch over in Seattle, to Spain, and then back. Because that makes all kinds of nonsense.
let's take it as America sharing freedom today.
We share freedom every day. It's the war on the sky that makes today special. And as we can see, weather patterns here. Fighting the sky people. Sky communists.
And Vikings.
The Vikings have been subjugated by the sky communists. I like Viking. Not these, though.
I like
Fuck these guys.
I like Vikings too.
So, do you want to talk about Hope's space pocket?
I think I mentioned earlier on the streams that it was past. I think it was last year because Hope's Japanese voice actor streamed the game, and there were some things that were on the script but never told in game, which only the voice actors were, especially in Japan, because being a voice actor in Japan is no joke. They're private to it, and there was an explanation. Yuki Kaji said that there was an explanation for Hope's boomerang in terms that it's not a space pocket. It's that the boomerang there's some sort of AMP device that allows Hope to sort of teleport warp it to its case, which is like the Impalum Column, and only summon it when needed, and summon it away when not needed. So it's not that it's a space pocket, it's just that he just sends it away.
Oh, okay. So, a technological space pocket. His pocket's just infallible.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, one perhaps would think that in considering that they're fighting all this pretty much all the time, he would have it more readily at the hand all times. But I can guess too that can be a bit bothersome, especially if you can just summon it when needed and not have to carry the thing around. Especially considering I'm thinking particularly of third stage of Hope's weapon, when you transform it from the initial stage to the second stage, and the third stage, which is kind of the ultimate form, the new. And the thing is almost as big as Hope is tall.
Jeez.
And I mean, Hope is not particularly tall. Not in this game and not in other games, but still, it's like, considering the thing is basically as tall as Hope is in centimeters 152. In centimeters, in meters. I don't know how to measure things in your stupid feet. Whatever you use. I don't know how to use your measure system. I don't know how to use your fucking Fahrenheit thing. I use Celsius.
Okay, Celsius is bizarre and weird, but we can all agree on -40, so we'll leave it there. But just say it in meters, because when you're like, oh, he's like 1,000 centimeters tall, I'm like,
no,
wait,
it's in centimeters is 152.
Okay, so 1.52 meters. Got it.
Yeah, 1.52.
See, I do know meters and metric. Unlike you European people who don't know the imperial system. How dare you defy the empire?
Listen, I'm from Europe. And here in Europe, kind of. It's kind of. No, I
Zendal
just.
says that's 3 freedom equals American. Freedom Eagles are units of length, by the way.
So yeah, how
Freedom Eagles are exactly 33 centimeters each.
So yeah, now that we're on that, how come you don't measure things on wide span of bald eagle of freedom measurements? Like take the eagle as a measurement, and you just this thing is like X eagles tall for freedom.
Because freedom is a measurement specifically for French fries. Like troy ounces is specifically for gold. So if you want 1 freedom of fries, that's like a large box. But if you want 2 freedoms, that's an extra large.
That was a weird shot of Fang, and you're about to wipe without a medic.
No, I'm good. Hope's got me. We're good. We're good.
He really is a lifesaver, honestly. Look at that. He is the white mage spirit incarnate. Got killed. Raid party is about to die. Rest the white mage. White mage gets everyone saved. That's the life of it.
So I gotta bring this up because we were talking about Final Fantasy VII, and Zental was standing for Tifa, which is the correct answer, because see here how Hope is everything that a white mage is. Aerith is everything a white mage is not. Is a terrible character, a terrible white mage, and just I do not like this at all.
I mean,
yeah, and white mages are also alive, like Hope. So
I can't say I know much about that in depth of the 7 cast. Because being honest, my favorite characters of the 10 cast are Red 13 and Kate Sith. So.
Okay.
I mean.
So Kate Sith made a lot more sense in remake to me than in yeah.
Yeah, but I like cats.
Zental says she's a bit overhyped, but she's still a decent character. Just a girl compared to the queen.
I agree that I myself prefer Tifa 1,000 times over.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Tifa is way better. But I will say that Cloud's OTP partner will forever be Barret.
I prefer not go into that.
No, it's Barret. Barret and Cloud went on their date in the Gold Saucer.
Yeah.
And then Barret was like, "Are we gonna do this or what? I paid for this, so I'm gonna get something." And it just went from.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the true.
Holy shit! The Erzine Archives. Thank you. Just raided with a party of 17.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Thank
you.
That's great, because I'm going to say a statement that no one can argue about.
Oh my god. Okay,
the
go.
real endgame OTP of Final Fantasy VII is Cloud and the 7 buff guys of the Jacuzzi. 5.
Okay, yeah. No, I can't argue that. I cannot argue that. That is absolute fact right there. We're currently discussing Cloud's one true pairing from Final Fantasy VII. Hello, thank you, Archivist Lynn. Oh, I'm sorry. It's in blue and I can't see it. Lanverley. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope I pronounced that correctly. So we are currently going through Final Fantasy XIII in celebration of the Sky War, America's annual war on the sky. So we are currently engaging in bloody battle with the communists from the sky.
Yes. And we were discussing Hope as time as the
As the one true white
the
mage.
one true white mage.
That's right. I guess Dagger would be a close second, but not her.
She lacks the murderous spirit.
As far as 14 is concerned, a white mage Hope is the archetypal white mage for 14.
Yes.
I really hate these mobs.
Final Fantasy makes you believe that white mages are all kind and
see that's the Eris lie. That is the Eris lie.
Yes, and then comes Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy 14, and
That's how it's done.
there's the Final Fantasy 14 white mage spirit more than any other healer. They can argue all they want. No one experiences the healer rate more than a white mage. And then
it's true. and Zental is arguing that Garnet's more of a summoner, which is technically true, but she also dressed up as a white mage and made you think that she could heal you when she didn't actually care, which is very white mage.
Though I have to say, technically the arc summoner being Eiko is, despite being 6 years old, probably the best white mage spirit, way more than Garnet. Like 6 years old, and Eiko, one of the most legendary lines, I think it was about Guja. It was like, that this guy's seeking me off, can I kill him? And I was like,
fair enough.
And so yeah, and actually Eiko is more a healer than Garnet is.
So yeah, that's true.
Played.
But in Canada, so there's a reason they named Scholar. So I play white mage because it's relaxing. Scholar is not relaxing. Scholar is so much more stressful because I have to pay a lot more attention to what the tank is doing, and a lot of times they're just
I've
been
maining white mage ever since I started playing, and I'm not planning to change that. I'm white mage through and through.
I'm not either. Yeah, I'm not either.
White mage through and through. You know those Twitter things, post things that it's like, which job you main in each expansion, and everyone putting like their jobs, and it's like, oh, this is an easy one for me. White mage, white mage, white mage, white mage.
Yeah, absolutely. Hands down. And some of you might be wondering, why are we playing Final Fantasy 13? I'm kind of going through this game. This is a blind run for me. When this first came out, I played it for maybe 3 hours. I put it down and I was like, I can't stand the characters. I don't like the combat system. And I never touched it again until now. And now that I'm going through it, I'm seeing so much that this game took from 14. Like tons. I mean, a lot of themes, a lot of things that happen in the game are things that have already happened in 14, and 13 stole. So I think it's really interesting to see how 14 influences there.
Yeah, the real reason is that I pester you and the crew enough to just.
Yes, it is very important to know.
No, I mean.
But yes, Meowth constantly compared things in 14 to 13, and it was enough for me to go, okay, so there's probably a lot of parallels. One of the big ones was when a Lucy in 13 completes their purpose, they turn into crystal. And when it happened to one of the characters, I was like, oh my god, she just got raw-teated. Yeah, the star rating system is very strange in this game. I'm not a huge fan of it. I just kind of ignore it.
Yeah, you don't have to. Really
I know I'm
worry
sucking,
much.
but I'm
you don't
not.
have to worry much about that. It's more like how should I put this? Especially in the third game, when you can go for 5 stars rating, repeat battles. If you want to 5-star rating, you're not going to get anything for that. It's basically a dick measurement system.
Okay, good to know. I have a 5-star measured dick, I guess. I don't know. Or lightning does, I guess. I don't know what it means.
On your toes.
Yes, though, to be fair, Zental says, having played 14 first, you're having flashbacks to something that chronologically hasn't happened yet. That's where 13 got very sneaky. They had a time machine that they used to rip things off from 14. 14 did it first. I'm standing by that. I do love temporal mechanics. I do. It's a Yumi that hates temporal mechanics. He hates time travel and all of his things. I like it. I'm a lot more lenient on it as long as it's done well. A Yumi is much more apt to accuse it of breaking everything and ruining everything.
13-2 is the kind of game...
It is Alexander's fault, absolutely. That line where it was like, reality struggled to accommodate infinite possible futures.
13-2
the timeline's fragmented right there.
13-2 is one game that I think would both please you and please a Yumi. A Yumi would be driven off the wall in many senses, but in others, it's time travel done well in the sense that...
From what I understand, 13-2 is basically Chrono Trigger in the Final Fantasy universe.
It's more complex than that, but we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah. Laggy stream, Meowth. Zental says it's frozen. It's working for me because I'm watching it too.
It's working for me. I'm going to refresh. Apologies.
So we are. I'm streaming this from my Xbox One, so it's kind of janky how we're doing this. I'm literally streaming this to my channel, which is bouncing from my house to Seattle over to Spain, where Meowth is watching my stream, and then restreaming it to the LoreLines stream from Spain back to wherever you are, so that we can actually stream our experience.
You will be able to stream less wonky when you play 13-2 Online Returns.
Yes, and thank you for that. I had a getting older ceremony recently, and Meowth gave me 13-2 and dress up lightning. So we don't call 13-2 13-2, we call it 13 also, because we talked about Final Fantasy 13.
You can call it 13-3 if you want. I don't mind. It's basically
no, it's Lightning Returns. It's Lightning Returns Final Fantasy 13.
Fair.
Yeah, low tech VPN.
I don't mind. I mean, if you want to keep it, shorter, go ahead. I mean, it's basically that.
Yes. So I'll just call it Lightning Returns.
Nothing I can't handle.
Which I'm assuming means Lightning is not a huge part in the second game, because she goes somewhere, and I'm guessing that she's kidnapped the communists and has to fight Demogorgons in a pit. So I'm
to be fair, it's kind of the title itself is kind of spoilery. Like sometimes I wonder what the hell were the developers on to decide to name the 13-3 like that. But I mean I've grown used to it. Nah, fine.
All right, we've made it to an exclamation mark in the sky, so I'm assuming something's gonna happen.
And I'm a bit behind.
Usually happen. Here we go.
I'm a bit behind of you.
You are. So I will delay my reactions by about 10 seconds.
Anyways, I will refresh when in battle.
Yeah, don't worry about refresh. So I was deceived. This is not a cutscene. It is a boss fight.
Because when we kill it, we're one step closer to Vanille. How's that? Well, when you put it that way.
Yeah, the Power of K1 says, honestly, the non-existent story for 1 is a better story than 13.
What?
So I don't dislike the story for 13. I will say it's oddly told, and it's told in a way I don't particularly care for. But I do like the characters. I will say that how they were presented to me initially didn't really gel well with me. I don't like the flashback method of storytelling, where it starts you on day 13 and it's like, hey, there's 10 other days of things that happen, and it's really, really important that you know what these things are, but we're not going to tell you what they are until like way later in the game.
Well, regarding me...
Okay, Meowth respond.
No, I mean, I can't read chat, that's why I can't keep track of what's going on.
Oh, no, that was just the one comment. I was just responding to that. And Zental says, be careful, Meowth has teeth, Katie. Meowth is our resident 13 expert and stan. What don't you like about Shiva as a motor?
Well, I
honestly don't have an answer for that. I miss Diamond Dust Shiva. Even though she has Diamond Dust in this, it's not like...
I mean, it's not exactly Shiva. It's Styria and Nyx. It's just that they're just called the Shiva sisters.
Yeah,
it's different. So because it's not exactly Shiva, I give them leeway in that sense that, hey, fine. And even so, I didn't dislike the... And there's another fact, that is that each Eidolon is sort of made to represent their master in a sense.
Which would be Snow, who gets Shiva, but I'm pissed. I was just thinking, man, that thing was really easy. And
here comes another.
Thing.
Another one.
One big fat stroke of luck after another. Happy I could cry.
Jesus Christ. Hey, look, it's all American and the Australian traitor person. I hate Vanille, by the way. And yes, I am super hyped for 16. I cannot wait for basically Yoshi P and Mahiro's extremely dark Final Fantasy game that was supposed to be Heaven's Word, but they told them it was too dark and they had to cut a lot of content out of it. So I'm really excited to see what they deliver with that.
I'm trying to refresh here, just I'm not abysmally behind Cobb. I apologize for the inconvenience.
As we said, we're using the janky VPN here.
Mm-hmm.
We make it work. This is the only game we're going to be doing this with.
Yeah. Once you get to 13.2, you'll be able to stream.
Yeah, I'll be able to stream it on my own, and then we won't need it. Oh, this looks like fun. Bye, maybe.
Steady now.
Change of plan.
Sir, triple medic.
You don't have triple medic, you have double medic and sentinel.
Time for another approach.
Well, we are using Restream Zental. We are just using it in another way. I don't know how to set it up from my console because I never stream from my console, and I probably won't after this. This is the 360 version of this game, which I have not touched since I got it.
Yeah, you only it's because Cobb already had the game, the physical copy, so to speak. That he's streaming 13 from the Xbox.
Yeah, exactly.
But he didn't have the other two games, which are the ones I gift him for Steam.
Yes, thank you. I did not buy them because I never finished the first one. I was like, well.
And then Meowth came, and decided, no, you're going to stream the entire trilogy.
Yeah. Power of K1 says, I mean, yeah, the golden age of Final Fantasy was over 20 years ago, but hey, Yoshi P is trying to bring a silver age. Anyway, I will be completely honest. After 10, I played 11, did not like it. I played 12, I did not like it. I didn't remember anything from that game. And then I played 13 for like 2 hours, and I was like, all right, you know what? That's 3 games in a row I didn't like. I'm done with Final Fantasy. And, sorry, King said something, and I'll address that in a second. It makes me feel old. But basically, I was like, I'm done with Final Fantasy. And then 14 came out, and I was like, it's going to be another 11. I'm not going to play it. And I was so smug when 1.0 failed. And I was like, see, it sucked. And then one day we were over at a friend's house, and he was like, you got to see this trailer that came out for 14. I was like, all right, whatever. And he pulled up the end of an era trailer, and he was like, I saw the Magitech armor. I was like, I need it. And so, like, Realm Reborn came out, and I was like, all right, yeah, I'm game. Let's try it. And then it turned out to be really fucking good, and I was like, okay, Yoshi P's good. 15 came out, and I was like, this is a great story told in the worst possible way. And so I was like, okay, I see what they're trying to do. They failed, but I see what they're trying to do. So 16 is something I'm really excited about, because I think it's gonna be like the new age of Final Fantasy. So after from 6 to 7 was kind of like the changing of the guard.
I'm going to cut you just to appreciate our resident crystal lesbians.
Okay, fair.
The hand is great.
Yep. Everyone is literally hanging around for the scene. And now I know why. Here we go.
There's something I need to tell you.
Making me worry like that. We'll talk later.
Yeah, Power of K1. I grew up with 4 and 6. 6 was my first one, and then I played 4.
What's wrong?
I also played Mystic Quest, a very basic game, but my god, the music in that game was
What's on the
amazing.
agenda?
Toppling the sanctum?
No, I mean really.
He's serious. We're gonna take down the sanctum and give Cocoon back to the people.
I literally have the Mystic Quest
Fal'Cie
battle
called
theme
the
as
shots
one of my
for long
workout songs.
enough.
If we pull this off, it'll be a miracle.
Well, good thing Lady Luck's on our side.
Oh, come the Sky County.
You know, this is getting really old.
Check this out. A miracle.
All right,
Grand Pulse
the
style.
Super Australia spies are here.
Vanille, go fish. Got it.
Any second now, Sid's gonna ride in with Murica. Dang. She actually dragooned it.
Yeah.
That's a good girl. All right.
Let's get on.
Yeah, we're all pretty fucking old here.
Freedom. Well, no, it's an owl, not a bald eagle.
Yeah, that's a communist owl. Look at this. This is the communist sky fleet. We have to bring freedom to this.
Believe in Lady Luck now.
Lady Bad Luck.
Time to purge a problem.
Power of K1, I remember that too, because I remember the 3D tester with Terralock and Celeste. And I was like, this is gonna be great! And then Final Fantasy VII came out, and I refused to play it. And I bought a PlayStation for 8, not 7.
I had my doubts, but I also believe that if we stuck together, Somehow we could change our fate.
Power, you've got me beat by 4 years. And my first computer was a 386.
We're still gonna have our talk. So let's survive this first.
I've literally heard this song so many times, not in this game, and I did not believe this song was from Final Fantasy XIII. I was like, no way. Oh, I can change my team! I'm 20 hours into the game, and I can finally select my team.
Yeah, but you can change leader yet.
I can't, or I can?
You can't change leader.
Oh, okay. Well,
you can change the formation if you want, but I think you're going to stick with what you have.
Yeah, I see no reason to change from my murder child and his hot escorts.
That's a really great way to put it. Because it's nothing short of the truth. You know, more than once...
Ah, oh, damn it.
Damn it. More than once, I have considered, though I don't really want to. I mean, look at his magic stat. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, he so what we've done is we took Hope and we turned him into an absolute murder machine. Because
he is already that without my help. Yeah, it's just that Meowth knows how to best exploit the murder machine, the walking afflatus misery.
You know, when you said Meowth knows, it just reminded me. Some of the older people here might remember Bo Jackson. Bo knows. Bo knows Hope magic.
I think
everyone's like right there.
I think you're getting to the point that in Hope Crystarium you see a magic node and you're like extreme sumais like need.
I'm gonna go right for renew. Boom.
There you have it. I mean, Fang is the most powerful physically, and she's at 208 strength, and Hope is 400 whatever magic.
He is the chosen one. He is the murder child. He was chosen by the gods of America to bring freedom and justice to the sky.
I'm going to keep things to myself.
I'm only harping on that stuff because it's July 4th.
I'm just thinking that if you, for some reason, go back to check these videos and these comments after playing the following two games, it's going to be amusing to say the least.
It's going to be very, very weird because I'm probably going to watch this and I'm not going to realize that it was on 4th of July, and I'm like, why am I talking about American freedom and all this other crap?
This is a good grinding spot, but I doubt you're really enthused about...
I do not want to grind on stream. I will grind off stream. I grinded a little bit during Hope's Raging House Party.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent like an hour.
You don't really need to grind for this. You just you know what basically the game system. So, though I have to say, the boss battle that's coming, it's a point in which many people playing 13 that managed to go over the first 2 hours. This is a point in which many get stuck, but they only got stuck because they're weak, and I don't think you're weak.
Well, that's good.
You got a firm grasp with the paradigm system and how things work. So perhaps maybe a wipe or two, but not getting stuck. Not with me here, anyways.
I will say predominantly my knowledge of this game comes from Meowth and Record Keeper. So
I taught you a bit of the mechanics, but I tried to avoid backseating too much.
Not too much.
I mean, I can't help myself sometimes because I'm like, I know what works best for this and that and that, and I'm a bit impatient sometimes, but you have to find your own play style, especially with the paradigms, because it's really much to finding which ones work best for what you do. And
my play style is push buttons and things that is my play style.
But if you may recall that you were quite confident on back on the biopics about steamrolling your way with just Commander and Ravager, and then you met the Elegant bots, and then you realized that
it wasn't the Elegant bots. It was the fucking what's the doctor from Tower of Babel? Like they multiplied them by like 50 and just like sprinkled them on the game. And then I did Hildebrand, and he's in it with lots of close-ups, and I was sitting there screaming in PTSD because this motherfucker was all over the Wild Peaks just wiping the floor with me. My strat is not just press X. I also press right button
I was
on
like,
occasion.
when the Hildebrand quest when it was released and there was new guy on that, I was like, oh god, God needs to play that. I need that reaction. I
did not record my reaction, but
I can imagine judging by you sharing that incidental.
I made a Photoshop.
Tower of Babel.
I made a Photoshop picture.
No, but
and it was the not like this face and a picture of Dr.
On your toes.
And I was like, please God, no, stop. I don't have paradigms here.
the moment and the realization that it's, oh god, it's an Elegant bot.
So Power of One, Square perfects turn-based combat in 4 through 9, and then completely ruins it in 13. I would actually blame 12 for that. 12 was the first game that really did away with it after 10. And so I can't solely lay that at the feet of 13. I will say that I really do miss turn-based combat Final Fantasy games. And while I'm super hyped for 16, I'm kind of lukewarm on the combat because I was not a huge fan of the combat in 7R.
Yeah, but I mean...
Yeah, 10 was perfect turn-based combat. That's how turn-based combat should be. God damn it, I hate these guys.
That one HP, that was one of the moments, but then
God, I hate this.
I will suggest focusing the bazooka guy.
Yeah, alright.
And getting Murder Child to set defense.
Alright, let's try this again. I'm gonna focus Mr. Blue Guy. 13, I guess, has turn-based combat.
On your toes.
Of a kind. It's... it's what I guess what we call true ATB, where it just does not wait for you whatsoever.
Real-time ATB is what it's officially
Yeah.
called.
It's mostly how quick you can hit the button. Alright.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you, Power.
I can't read chat, so perhaps it's for the best that sometimes I don't.
Yes.
I can't read the chat. Not that I can't respect 13 criticism, of course.
No, I mean I'll say it. It's 13's combat system is a bastardization of the original ATB system. And I will say it is definitely not the original ATB system. That would be 4-head ATB, like true ATB, and I believe 9 was the last one that had like true ATB.
Well, not real-time ATB. Yeah, definitely. 9 was the last one. This 13 is like in the middle between. 13 was in the experimental era, so to speak, like try to figuring gameplay-wise where to go. That it was that time of the transition between the classic formats towards more action-based formats, which I understand that not everyone is fond of that, but it's something that happens. And the thing is that back then the people were less amenable to accept that this was a change that was going to happen. I myself didn't care much. I mean, I can play whatever as long as it has a great story. I'm into games for the storyline.
Yeah, same. I'm into it more for the story than the gameplay, for sure.
So yeah, that guy is spamming bazookas, and I would target.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy. Fuck this guy.
What I was going to say is 13 stands, and 11 and 12 stand in this line where it's just transition between. I mean, 11 and 12, despite 12 not being an MMO, 12 definitely drinks a lot from MMO concepts. It was the age of World of Warcraft, all those things, and it was, and the Gambit system, at least in the Zodiac Age version, it's really good. Though it's more people have come to rediscover 12 after the remaster, which is something that happens, and I think the trilogy should get one too. Because back when the first was, as I was saying, back when it was first released, people were still not that much accepting of the change that was going to happen from classic format to modern format, so to speak. And it's not as if Square Enix has dropped the classic format. They're still Bravely Default. If you want a turn-based system, then you have Bravely Default. It's basically a spin of Final Fantasy, so to speak. But 13 stands in this middle ground between. That's another wipe.
Yeah, I know. That's what I get for reading chat at the same time.
I'm probably distracting you too.
More than.
Keep your mind on the battle.
I mean, I let Cobb wipe just because I don't, like I said, I don't want to backseat wipe.
No, it's fine. And yeah, 12 is definitely so. 12 is not ATB or real time. It's the Gambit system, which is a real time combat system, but it's not. It's a completely original system,
12
and it is a single player game.
Not entirely original. It
Well,
draws.
it's meant to feel like an MMO, but be a single player game.
It draws a lot from 11 actually, but made into.
Well, that's what I mean. It's supposed to feel like an MMO, but it's
Yeah.
not.
Then 13 is this mix between classic ATB and real-time action. It's I mean for me it works. I can and I think people I've been seeing people that after a decade they've gone through 13. People who said that they didn't like this game and then played after 10 years and said this isn't as bad as I recall. And there's been a trend of that lately that I've been following with great interest because it means like the other day we discussed that this game was really ahead of its time. If this game
I will not disagree with that. I played this game when it came out and I hated it, and now I'm playing it again, giving it another shot. And I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing here. It's not perfect, but like, yeah, it was ahead of its time, and I see what they're trying to do here, and it's not a bad thing. It's just is it different?
No, it's just that I mean, coming from the sphere of art, so to speak, we are kind of in the sphere of art. We're kind of familiar with what may entail being ahead of your time as an artist or as a creative, for that matter. I mean, history of art basically is full of that, in which a masterpiece being ahead of its time may cause people to think it's terrible, then rediscover it years later and people realize, well, this was actually a masterpiece. This is the way I consider it. This is the 13 Trilogy's case, big time. But like Final Fantasy XII is too, but it needed the remaster for people to actually give 12 a second another try and realize, hey, this is actually a good story, and the Zodiac system actually helps a lot. But
I have the remaster and I've not played it yet. That's on my list.
It's on your list. There's no rush. I really enjoyed it.
My issue with 12 was the hunt system was too good, and I don't remember the story because I was so focused on getting the next hunt that I just turned it into a Monster Hunter game with a side story.
I mean, fair. I'm not one.
So, yeah.
I'm not one to judge that, but yeah. But yeah, I'm sort of expecting this December with interest. There's not been any announcement, but I'm kind of eyeing it. Sorry for the pronunciation for people who are new. I'm not a native English speaker, so yeah. It was my place. I was going to say, I'm eyeing December because December 2022, which is going to be this year, is going to be the 13th anniversary of Final Fantasy 13, and they like their 13 numbers for the trilogy. So that's why I'm kind of very intrigued as of what they may actually have in store, because I see people considering there's always this sort of misconception in the fandom that Square Enix wants to forget everything about the 13 trilogy, and that's wrong.
That's not true. 13 did really well in Japan.
Exactly. I mean, in Japan, it's really loved, and to be fair, the last game in Japan they have the original proper game, not the only mistake of the localization that screws up a lot of the lore and makes things a fucking mess, but we will get there when we get there. Which is the only thing I'm mostly salty about. And that's what makes me eye the remaster in many ways, because if they're remastering the entire trilogy, there's one part in the third game in which I'm like, okay, if you really want to remaster this thing, you have to fetch the voice a certain voice actor and redub this thing with the proper script.
Yeah. So, Team Canada, his problem with 12 their problem with 12 is that Vaughn is a very poor protagonist for the story.
I'm not going to tolerate shade or slander
correct.
about Vaughn. I refuse.
No. Vaughn is a terrible character. I hated Vaughn, and it wasn't until I figured out that Vaughn was a last-minute addition to the game that is actually about Balthier and Ash. And I don't remember why they added him, but he was kind of this last-minute addition that they put into the game.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's just, and it just felt really weird to me because there was nothing interesting or developing about the character in the game at all. It's like, I want to be an airship pirate and, be a pirate and break the law, and in the end he gets his airship. And I was like, this is terrible.
If you play 12 and I join for the ride, I will exactly explain you the more deeper points of Vaughn. Though it's true that the game is about Balthier and Ash in particular. Vaughn was an addition because Yasumi Matsuno is all about politics and intrigue in his games. And from an outsider's, that is the player's point of view, you can't go into the already established politics of Ivalice, which is a very lore-rich game verse, so to speak, without someone to relate with in terms of the eyes of an outsider to the politics and the intrigue. Vaughn is precisely that. It's meant to be sort of your proxy. Not that you necessarily have to feel related to Vaughn, but in the terms of his dreams, of his circumstances, but more like he's an outsider to the entire political shebang that's going on the continent.
And I get that, I do, and I understand that archetype and the need to have a fresh pair of eyes going into it so they can explain it to the character, which is kind of explaining it to you at the same time. But the way they did it with Vaughn was horrendously bad.
There was this problem, which amusingly, that's one way to put it. I keep saying that the CD Opera Omnia is probably the best thing that happened to Final Fantasy ever since Final Fantasy XIV. because it provides Square Enix a place where to give the player base all those things that couldn't fit back in their proper titles. And Final Fantasy XII suffered a lot from this because I think it was because Matsuno fell ill at some point at the late development stages of 12, that many things couldn't be added properly the way he wanted. And he always complained. There was an interview with Famitsu in which he sort of lamented that he had an entire backstory written and developed for Penelo, but never got into in the game because there was no time to add it and there was no more money to develop that. So that was something.
Is that why she was literally a cardboard cutout in the game?
So Matsuno always lamented that his characters.
Because Penelo wasn't even a character in 12.
Yeah. So he actually in Revenant Wings, which is the DS sort of sequel of 12, they gave Vaughn and Penelo the proper, more backstory-driven characters. And then in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance 2, which is it is the game in which I first met Vaughn and Camilo, they're also more developed as well. And I actually
How are they even in Tactics Advance 2?
Huh?
How are they even in Tactics Advance 2?
Because Tactics Advance 2 takes place in the same age of post Final Fantasy 12. It's after Remnant Wings.
Oh, okay.
It's so to speak, the Grimoire of the Rift in Tactics Advance 2 takes Luso, the main character, back in time to this age, and that's.
I see.
Instead of being the Grimoire, instead of being like in Tactics Advance, in which the Ivalice, Marche and his friends transform Saint Ivalice into an imaginary Ivalice. The Grimoire of the Rift actually transports Luso back into the proper Ivalice age. Well, the 12th age. Makes sense when you play it.
I missed like the entire DS era.
The DS era had great titles, but faced a lot of system limitations, and that's kind of interesting. But Nintendo always does something as something very I really appreciate, in the sense that Nintendo has the ideas, and Nintendo is the first who applies the ideas, and then Sony and Microsoft come afterwards and polish the ideas. That's pretty much.
Yeah, as long as it gets polished.
Yeah, that's pretty much how they worked. But Nintendo has ideas, produces sometimes the rough ideas, like the DS was the first tactile touch screen console ever, dual screen, and then from there consoles have grown to that. The same as the Wii was the first wireless console, and sometimes it could get wonky, but they had the first idea. So
yeah.
Well, get ready.
And now all controllers are what?
Get ready.
Oh, here we go. Give me back my son.
Mm-hmm.
Your Eminence, please escape. I'll cover your retreat.
Why don't you leave, Jill? Or rather, leave. Humans have no business here.
What? Your Eminence!
Yes.
What the fuck? Who could have guessed that the evil Pope was evil?
People are not yours to use!
What else does one do with tools?
Snow denied.
Cocoon is a factory built by Vusal, a factory for the mass production.
Oh, so Cocoon is the Matrix.
Not anymore, it's not.
What can mere men do? Without our help, death is all of which you're capable. You saw the fools, a mindless mob drunk on fear of a viewless sea.
If they only knew a lassie was the one filling their glasses.
Let's see. You mean me? Oh, child, perish the thought. I am more.
Oh shit, he merges with the communist owl.
I am Vusal. My name is Spartandulus. Voice of
Let's see if Bartandulus triggers
Fuck,
some memories.
It does.
Your kind.
I fought this asshole on Record Keeper and he's a pain in the ass.
We gave you light.
I didn't mean that. I meant in 14.
Purge. And did it
Oh.
doesn't come to pass.
Well, let's see.
Now you spurn our counsel. You must learn
I mean,
your
it
place.
kind of reminds me of Mount Gold.
You are ignorant of your place.
Cocoon's nothing to you?
Especially those. Oh, the faces, yeah. Hammer. Okay, yeah. Now I see it.
Attack the targets, the pauldrons first. Don't make the mistake of trying to hit on Barthanderus first. So you can imagine my reaction when we get through Amaroth and we get to face Therion, and Therion appears, and you can sort of imagine me screaming for reasons. Especially
I mean, yeah.
especially when those fucking laser faces appear, which annoy me the hell out of that fight. But yeah.
Man, this thing's annoying. Alright, Bartholomew. He's so much shinier here than Records. Oh, I don't like this.
Yeah. So if you see him charging something that it says Thanatosian whatever, I don't remember if laughter of cackle or whatever, go to defensive programs.
Follow my lead.
Yeah.
This will be quick.
And there's another attack in which you have to deal him a certain amount of damage if you don't want to die of search. It's kind of...
This will be quick.
Well, that sucks. But okay.
Nah, it's fine.
This will be quick.
Also, I would recommend not to go too defensively in this fight, because this fight has a timer, and sort of,
Right.
if you go over that timer, Barthanderus will cast Doom on you,
And then we'll be doomed.
and you will be doomed. I think my first run of 13 myself, I almost got doomed and only managed to survive because I summoned Odin to stop the doom counter and finish him.
This will be quick.
Oh, stop buffering.
I'm kind of surprised how quickly this game has moved.
How?
I mean, 20 hours in, and we're already at this point. I thought something like this would come
This will be quick.
a lot later.
Oh, it's not the first time, and it's not the last time you're going to meet this guy.
Oh,
This is the
This will
power.
be quick. This will be quick.
Also, Fighting Fate, the theme for Barthanderus, the fighting theme, likely one of the best tracks in the 13 OST. I could sing it actually. I know the lyrics. It's Latin.
favorite Meowth, what's your favorite recurring boss or monster from Final Fantasy?
boss. I'm biased, and I would say the final boss of Lightning Returns. But I also have conflicting feelings because of localization mistakes.
Well, I mean, like recurring, like over multiple Final Fantasy games. That's a good question.
I mean,
because then I gotta think: does recurring mean like how many games are they in? Because if they're in 14, like most of what's in 14 is recurring. And I do love the Demon.
No, I don't think Bartholomew is going to be one of these. Though he is a great boss in terms of even though the motivations are not exactly his per se. So he falls a bit short in the terms of evilness, considering, you know, it's difficult to judge Falsi and gods in this verse because of their how they operate. It's kind of different morality. It's kind of not exactly the same conflict, but how it's a rift of understanding, like in 14 with the ancients and the Sounded. You know, you can't judge. It's very difficult to judge the gods or the Falsi with human morals. You're going to have to hit him, not right now. Yeah, go for defensive. That's the one that hits hard.
This'll be quick.
You
Oh my
can.
god, thing. Stop for it.
Okay. So yeah.
For me,
I would say Hades because of how much that whole thing in 14 affected me in the sense of I was really shaken. That's kind of yeah, now I would recommend going more in the offensive when you can. So yeah, I would say Hades. In terms of bosses that are really objectively, I can't really put any flaw in Hades' fight. I don't know if
would that be like Hades compared to like 9 and 14?
The thing with Hades in 9 is that, as far as I know, the original plan was to make him the final boss, but they changed him into an extra boss and made Necron the final boss for some reason, even though Hades representing what Necron is would make sense to, but yeah.
This'll be quick. This'll be quick. This'll be quick.
More, I was going to say more on the offensive side, then he kind of toss and laughter. Yeah.
This'll be quick.
Yeah, you're about to stagger him. Yeah, go for it.
I mean, for me, Cactars are pretty much it.
Oh, well, in terms of monsters and bosses that I really don't... I have no good memories of, that's Stormbearers for me. Because...
Oh yeah, they're pretty good.
I like them in the sense that that's a fucking green monster with a lantern and a knife that can murder you in one hit. And that's the one, go for it. Go full attack. If you don't deal a certain amount of damage, that attack's going to be harsh.
Alright.
Bartandalus!
think. I mean, Gilgamesh is always fun whenever you see him in
Gilgamesh
the game.
So, did you mean Greg?
Yeah, great.
There you go. Protect. Go for a defensive. Go for defensive. You lost your buffs. I mean, they expired.
In your opinion, does Chrono Trigger count as a Final Fantasy game? I would say no. I think it's an excellent game, absolutely incredible game. But I don't think it's a Final Fantasy game per se.
This'll be quick. This'll be quick. This'll be quick.
That said, we desperately need Chrono Break. Well, we've been asking for that for like 20 years and we still haven't got it.
You will take agony.
Oof.
Follow my lead.
You will not.
Again. Yeah. Go ham on him.
Come, murder child.
They're all three in it. There you go. I would say, yeah, when you have the moment, I would go for the paradigm that Hope has in a synergist to refresh books.
Yeah.
Not right now because you need to survive this.
This'll be quick. This'll be quick. This'll be quick.
Thank you.
Submit.
To be fair,
No way.
you only need shell in all of them. But Fan can do.
Cheers.
Witness my power.
Okay.
Ow.
Ow! You know the thing. That attack in future battles becomes even worse.
Oh, I'm sure.
Go ham on him.
I summon.
You could summon that Thunderous, but
Okay, let's splash her.
Odin.
Odin.
Clear the field.
Fucking goddamn. Heh.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of
Yeah,
wasted the summon in Odin racing you, but at least that's not a wipe.
Yeah, okay.
Better have Hope refresh the shell on Lightning.
Take down the enemy.
Yeah, I'll admit, King Canada. It was really weird to me at first to get used to not controlling all my party characters. Oh shit!
Let's go. Bartendulus.
And that was one of the main complaints I had when I started this game. But then I realized the combat system really doesn't have a whole lot to do with the characters. It's more what the characters are doing and the role they're occupying. It's kind of weird, but I mean, once you get used to it, it kind of works for me.
It works. I really like the paradigm system, and in 13.2, it's even more fluid. Gets a bit more of customizing to that. Like I said, I told you the other day, in 13.2 you can adjust the paradigm, so in which paradigm you can set it to either a spread or focus target, or just leave it to the AI. But for some battles, it's great to have paradigms set to focus target, because there's one issue here. Like for example, aggression is right now your highest DPS paradigm, but mostly reserved for one enemy, because it has a flaw, which is if there's multiple enemies, the other commando won't focus the enemy that's targeted. It will go to the other one, and you can fix it. However, in 13.2 you can adjust the paradigm to focus target, and that's more DPS, of course.
Right.
I mean, they were still experimenting with this system, so I can forgive the aggression issue.
Oh, you fool! You staggered.
He broke the chain, and I would suggest healing the moment you can after you. I mean, not here at this moment, but yeah. There you go.
Thanks.
You will taste agony.
That was a good call. I adore Hope as medic. I mean, he gets the party up in like 2 spells.
Yeah, he's super powerful.
You're not really having trouble with Barthanderus. I mean, sometimes
No.
I get why it can get because it's definitely a difficulty spike, but it's not really that difficult once you know what you're doing.
And then he exploded.
There you go.
Grahatia's home has expanded. Yeah, it's the other thing. This game took the name Crystarium from 14.
Important cutscenes, or
The Fal'Cie running the sanctum.
Then, I guess it wasn't Eden controlling things after all.
As I said, I am Lord Sovereign.
Guess Fal'Cie don't go down as easy as the rest of us.
Ease is not the issue. You have not fought to win. You should know quite well already the sure way of dispatching our kind. Ragnarok.
What's Ragnarok? Ah! Ah! Ah!
Pitiful the sea. You've forgotten your focus. Ragnarok is the beast one of you must become in order to lay waste to Cocoon. You have had the dream. One among you will become that monstrosity. Defeat Orphan and destroy Cocoon.
Orphan.
The font of Eden's power. Orphan fuels Eden with strength, and Eden in turn sustains you and the rest of our kind. Destroy Orphan.
So why is he
You'll
just
release a
telling
force
us
such as
all
this
this?
world has never seen.
destroyed orphan.
Your focus will be fulfilled.
So what? Who says it has to be?
Sarah asked us to save Cocoon before she turned to Crystal. Save it! And that's what we're gonna do. Sarah was trying to tell us how to complete our focus, and we have...
Mwahahaha.
Allow me to help you see the truth of things. The moment you arrived, your friend wept crystal tears. This was because her focus required that you be brought together. That girl did nothing but assemble the tools for Cocoon's destruction. Did it never occur to you? Or did you simply refuse to countenance the thought? If you will not face the truth, then face the peril of your plight. Run, let's see. See how stark reality is.
Damn, that's a big bird.
Yeah, it's his familiar,
Come on!
Menra, and can transform into an airship.
I have thoughts.
Yeah, I know.
This is bad. The yoke's jammed. Knew it was a trap.
Something's coming.
Hope Sixth Sense at work.
Not so fast.
Hey, Rosh.
Hang on! The hell kind of ship is this? Fighting on its own? Clever, aren't you?
Can't we do something?
Got me! I give up!
That's the capital, Eden.
Yeah.
And Merva can pass because it's a falsy familiar, but Rosh can't.
Saz, look out!
So, I don't know if that cutscene's over yet.
Don't worry, it's going to be explained in a moment.
The Sky War has started outside. I hear the explosion. War on the sky. So I have thoughts about Barthandalus telling us exactly how to destroy Cocoon right after essentially calling humans cattle. He's telling us to destroy Cocoon. And that's really strange considering he's a Sanctum Falsi. But knowing Final Fantasy, the Sanctum Falsi are actually the villains, I think. And Pulse are not.
Not exactly.
What, you mean like the Bodum vestige? Something like that. It's close to Eden.
Yeah, well, what I don't understand is after the purge and all that Lassie paranoia, why keep a chunk of pulse under the floorboards?
Is this what the Primarch wanted us to see?
A place for l'Cie to accept their fate.
Do you really think our focus is where
So isn't
Dr.
the bot
said it is?
dead?
Yeah.
You mean become Ragnarok?
Destroy the fal'Cie Eden and shatter Cocoon.
Well, that
That's what
sucks.
the vision's telling us, more or less. So, back to square one. Out of luck.
Mr. Hero!
Snow
Cocoon
is
calling Snow!
going blue screen of death right now.
Oh no.
It's almost like Daisley wants it to come true.
Seems that way. He sure didn't mind explaining it. Here's your focus on the silver platter.
But that doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Why would a Cocoon fal'Cie want to destroy Cocoon?
Maybe it's a fal'Cie thing. You know what I mean? Some grand design we just don't understand.
Hey, Snow. Nothing from you?
No, Snow. The Snow's brain is busy.
Snow. Snow.exe has encountered fatal error. So we've heard about a lot of fal'Cie. We've met Carbuncle, Barthandelus, and a bunch of different ones. And I know Etro is a thing. Where is Etro?
She is the fal'Cie goddess of death. She's not in this plane of existence. She exists in the spiritual plane of existence known as the Unseen Realm.
Okay.
But you'll learn more about Etro in the second game.
Okay.
She's important. She's kind of important in this game, but not directly. You're not going to hear her mentioned in the first game. So you can. I can tell you more or less a bit of the mythology. To make well, if you want to speak with the crew first, and then I explain.
Wish I could say it was my piloting skills that saved us back there, but it wasn't. Truth is, the ship handled all the flying and shooting. I'm not talking about some jacked up autopilot either.
I think you can talk to them like 3 times.
Made sure we did.
Not creepy.
You can speak with each one of them, I think, 3 times. I think.
Hey, I don't know what's waiting for us out there, but we can't sit around here worrying about it. We have a sucker. Snow's falling apart, so it's up to you and me to keep things steady. Neil told me everything. Told me who else was responsible for Urinate Gorge. Never mind. Now's not the time. Wish I could say it was my pilot. Truth
yeah,
is,
3
the
times.
ship's something one of them.
Yep. This game really likes 3s and 1s and 3s and 10 and 3. Lots of 13s. Like, this is the 13th Final Fantasy game. Everything.
The
has to be
rule of
13 in this
3.
game.
The rule. I'm going to get a bit technical in here, but the rule of 3. The rule of 3 holds a lot of symbolism in narrative for many reasons. Think of it as the rule of Trinity.
Yeah. So, my thinking is that whatever Ragnarok actually is to destroy the Sanctum fal'Cie, but not Cocoon.
Nah, it's destroying Cocoon too. But that's related to Cocoon's purpose.
Checking your brand? You start to stray.
I mean,
Too much of a shock. Your
if
brand will
we
change.
think about
Next time,
thematically
century,
what
bear in mind.
how this game relates to 14, if we think about Cocoon as the source and the Sanctum fal'Cie as the Ascians, then that would make Cocoon a sacrifice, including everyone in it.
I think Hope had a really interesting insight in here, which is...
Don't believe everything a Fal'Cie says. He's telling us our focus is to destroy Cocoon. But who knows?
Oh, I don't like Neil making sense.
Helping him to do something. We should
It's
listen
the
to
first
Sarah.
line she said that she made sense in this entire game.
No matter what our focus is,
And I don't like
we
it.
still make our own decisions. Worst comes to worst, we can always just do nothing and wait for time to run out. After all, there's
I like, she's like, there's no stopping our brands. Like she's some kind of marketing manager or something.
I got on that purge train on my own.
Outback Steakhouse. No
Safety
rules,
said
just
we'd
right.
be shipped out of Cocoon, and I believed it.
It's a bug, ignore it.
If I went
Thank you,
to
Zentala. That makes me feel better.
I might be able to save all this. But I guess things have a funny way of catching up with you.
So Daisley was really the Fal'Cie Bartandalis. The vision he was talking about was that crazy Ragnarok dream we all had when we were made into l'Cie. One of us is supposed to become this Ragnarok thing and destroy Eden. Except we do that by destroying this orphan that gives Eden its power. I think I have that part straight now. So Sarah's real focus was to gather a fresh batch of l'Cie candidates who could attack Cocoon. We all showed up at the Pulse Fal'Cie's place, so she turned to Crystal. Snow was wrong from the start then. We were never supposed to save Cocoon. That makes a lot more sense. Not that I'm happy about it. Reigns should be off fighting the Sanctum by now. We've got to get out of here and join up with him. But still, rushing straight into the middle of
Wow,
the
Hope
fight
is second guessing
just what
himself
Daisley wants.
super bad. I think he fell for it, hook, line, and sinker.
He's got really interesting insights in this chapter.
I gotta apologize. Looks like I was wrong.
About Sarah's focus? Not like you to second guess yourself.
Well,
I mean, yeah, not disposing of Vanille at the first opportunity was a huge mistake.
What about your plan to protect Cocoon? Either way, your faith in Sarah was strong. That strength got you this far.
it was all wrong.
Yeah, you tried so hard to convince us that you even fooled yourself. You've been a total idiot. But still,
I like her bluntness.
it saved me. You trusted Sarah. Let that faith drive you. It even made me want to believe.
Man, seeing lightning just really makes me want HD Iggy Orb.
Sarah.
Alright, I will be right back in just a moment.
Okay.
This could
Meowth,
be...
entertain the chat.
I mean,
How?
those were just legends.
I can't really read the chat.
I want to say we're close to Eden, but it's hard to be sure.
I guess I'll have to check the chat when Cobb is away on my phone. Well, that is the best. Outcome. So. All right. So now I have the chat on my phone. I apologize because well, I'm transmitting Cobb's stream. I have full screen, so I can't read chat. So he has to rely onto me what's the chat saying. So I apologize if there was in any case any question or any comment addressed to me and Cobb miss it. It's just that I can't read. I'm not ignoring you. yeah. I guess you can ask something directly if you want. I can't really do much.
All right, that was fun.
Okay.
I had to do my patriotic duty and destroy a small piece of the sky.
Okay, there was no need
I'm kidding.
for me to. There was no need for me to entertain chat. Nothing happened.
No, nothing happened. Nothing was said.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see.
Oh, excuse
There is
me.
a.
I was going to tell you about. I was going to tell you about the mythology. I was going to say
Yes.
stop running away and running about because you're going to get into cutscenes and then you're going to cut me off.
Okay.
So you can imagine. So there's 5 major deities in the Fabula Nova Crystallis universe. The first is rarely mentioned. That's Paul's in the script. The first is rarely mentioned. She's the mother goddess, and her name was Muin. And she had a son by the name of Bunibelse. He's the god of light. There was it's kind of so the legend goes, the story goes that Muin was the goddess born of chaos, and she had real understanding for the need of death and the cycle of death and rebirth, and the need and the feelings of both joy and sorrow. But Bunibelse considered death and this thing and the decay that happened in creation a curse imposed by his mother. So considering that he was saving the creation from Muin's corruption, he confronted his mother and, so to speak, killed her, sent her to the unseen realm, the realm of the spiritual and the souls. So he did that in order to preserve the creation, thinking that it would be saving the corruption from death and decay, so it would last for an eternity. But he was scared that by this act, Muin may have cursed him and his creation to someday, in vengeance, be destroyed. So he sought to, knowing that his mother's spirit had gone to the unseen realm, but because gods lacked the ability to see the chaos and the metaphysical, or so to speak, feelings or the spirits, he didn't know where to start the search for the Gate of Souls, or the gate to the unseen realm. And for this purpose, his first creation was the falsy god. Pulse was the first of his children. Pulse was given the task of shaping creation and search for the Gate of Souls in the physical realm, in case there was an entrance. The second creation was Etro. She was meant to be the protector of Bunibelse in a sense, but he realized in terror that he had created his daughter in the exact same appearance as his mother Muin, and he was scared of her, so he didn't give her any role or purpose of power. So instead he created Lindsay, the twin deity of Pulse, to protect him and watch over creation and notify him when the Gate of Souls had been opened. And with this done, and the 3 kids, so well, the ones that actually mattered for him were Pulse and Lindsay, since he was scared of Etro, sort of. Bunibelse entered a crystal stasis and went to sleep. And Etro, she was, Pulse and Lindsay created their own fal'Cie for reasons that you will understand later. Lindsay created Cocoon and well, the fal'Cie that ruled there, and Pulse made his own. And then Etro, she was seeing her siblings and their purposes, and she was feeling so very lonely, and she wanted to get her father's attention. so bad because she felt lost and without purpose. So, in a desperate attempt, don't ask me why, the reasoning was to kill herself to get her father's attention. Didn't work. She.
I mean, that's one way to do it, I guess.
Yeah. She went to the unseen realm and found Muin, the mother goddess, being about to be consumed by the chaos. And in her last conscious effort, or moment of consciousness, Muin tasked Etro with the purpose of watching over the chaos in the unseen realm and made sure that it never crossed the bridge between the barrier between the unseen realm and the physical plane, because it would cause the destruction of the world, and Muin was consumed by the chaos and in a sense became part of it. So Etro became from that point onwards the goddess of death. She's more like the watcher of the unseen realm and keeper of the chaos to make sure it doesn't escape the unseen realm. Meanwhile, in the physical realm, from Etro's spilled blood, Lindsay created the humans, and the first human was a woman in made sort of honor or remembrance or likeness of Etro, and by proxy Muin. And that's basically the whole story going on as of now, which may make a bit little sense as of now, but especially considering the roles each one of these deities play, and the fal'Cie, and the fal'Cie that we're meeting now, because you know that Lindsay made Cocoon and Lindsay created the humans, but what's the purpose? That's the thing, because I'm not going to reveal the purpose for that.
Yeah.
There is a reason, though I've given you a clue, though. Their task, their focus, if you want, even though they're fal'Cie gods in a sense, but they're fal'Cie in essence. Their task with finding their ultimate purpose is finding this gate of souls, in order to find Muin, though they don't know that she's no longer there, or that she's melted into the chaos.
Right.
So the thing that's been driving them, because Bunibelsa is sleeping right now, so he doesn't even know that humans exist. So yeah, they were created afterwards. He went to sleep, which is something important to keep in mind. And Lindsay and Pulse. Well, it was Lindsay who created humans, and then Lindsay who created Cocoon from Etro's spilled blood. But the thing is that it was all work of Lindsay. Pulse is in charge of creation, of shaping creation, like, shaping mountains, putting things in place. That was his role until, Lindsay and Pulse left the world and left their fal'Cie in charge as keepers of this world. So, yeah. We've seen Pulse in game. That's if you recall when the party fights fal'Cie Anima, and suddenly they found themselves in a strange dimension, and then some big thing with made almost of bells brands them. That was the god Pulse himself.
Yeah. Which means that their missions are important.
Mm-hmm. Ultimately, that's the purpose that drives them. Their ultimate purpose is to find this gate of souls and eradicate Muin. The thing is that they don't know that Muin is no more, because when you can't see the unseen realm, it's hard to know what's going on there.
It makes me wonder if there's not something similar in 14, like a watcher making sure that the void doesn't cross the rift.
It's possible.
Like, they're not doing a very good job, but, like, to prevent a flood.
To be honest, Etra isn't that great at doing her job.
I mean, obviously, because isn't magic fueled by chaos in this game?
Uh-huh. But
which means that there's chaos already seeping in.
Not really. Yes and no. Chaos is... I mean, every matter is born from chaos, and crystallized, frozen, non-entropic chaos, which makes me recall your video on the third law of thermodynamics. Non-entropic chaos is crystal. It's frozen crystal. It's the form in which it can manifest in the physical realm without messing the laws of the physical realm. And l'Cie, the Eidolith, you see, when you open the Crystarium and you say they're Eidolith, when you become branded l'Cie, a part of your soul crystallizes into something that represents your soul or who you are to a degree. It's affected by the chaos inside you, which is it's a gift from Goddess Etra to the humans. The human spirit, just for context, the human soul, everyone has a energy or a soul, so to speak, but humans have two parts. It's made of two parts. There's the container, which would be the soul, which would be empty in any other creature, but humans and fal'Cie also have memories, the mind, but humans have something that fal'Cie and gods have not, and it's the spirit or the heart, which is what allows them to experience feelings which can be contradictory in many circumstances. And it's that part of the soul was given to Etra, to the humans, when they first reincarnated and went through the first cycle of death and rebirth as a gift. And it's born from chaos. So that's why humans can see souls, or can experience, or can see the gates too, or can understand each other, can understand other humans, because they're all connected through this network of chaos or spirits. It's kind of complicated, like said in this context, but it's going to unfold through the trilogy, and it will make more sense as you go. And some things cannot, and some things can't be understood without knowing or putting these pieces together. And that's why I'm here for, because I've been working on doing that for 10 years.
Yeah.
It's complicated at first, but you'll see that everything makes sense as you go. It's really fascinating once you get into lore diving into a trilogy. But honestly, the going into the void in 14, knowing that it's the 13, it has me really...
I can't believe we're still in Cocoon.
It's kind of creepy.
Oh, the brand pulse.
Let's see Brand go brr.
Mm-hmm.
No! No.
F.
I don't like these things.
I was like, Kobe's not really going to like this place because bots.
Time for another approach.
They spin their heads and they stagger like crazy. I call bullshit. Also, the moment I saw in the Hildebrand quest, Luga doing the elegant bot thing with opening and exposing the core.
Oh
I
my
was
god,
like,
I
I was flashback.
Yeah, I did too. I wasn't happy.
I mean, I was because I adore the Hildebrand quests,
Thanks.
and
Oh, I did too.
that whole thing was historical.
I'm just imagining me screaming.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. To be fair, I was screaming more at the beginning of the quest, when it started at the beginning, when they actually managed to bait me into thinking that we were going to fight Sin Light Warden Hildebrand, and of course we wouldn't.
Oh
Be
my.
ready for the next fight.
That was hilarious when he was just sticking up. What is... What? Ooh.
Ooh, ooh. Freedom!
God bless America. The fifth arc.
Yes, a term that I suggest you. The term of the arc term. Keep it. Keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it safe on
This
mine.
place. It must be an ark.
An ark? That's what they called them.
Long ago, the Falsi who made their home on Grand Pulse were afraid of invasion from the outside. As part of their battle preparations, they created an army of living weapons, and they stored those weapons in arks, and they hid the arks all over the world.
Everyone on Grand Pulse knew the legend. So this is basically a Pulse armory. Mm-hmm. Most of us never believed in them. A few people tried searching, but they never found a thing. Who'd have thought to look on Cocoon?
Seems intentional.
Some secret they kept. Yeah, those Sanctum guys, what are they up to?
The story's not done. There's more.
They used to say the Arks had a more practical purpose. Huh. Really? Yeah, to force Lassie to master their shiny new powers. Huh. Okay, so I get it. Daisley's goal is to forge us into stronger weapons. Right.
Not Seath, but monsters all the same.
Think of it as training for the fight ahead.
Herb's right.
Wait, what was that?
More bots.
No, make them stop. I don't want to play highlight with them.
These guys again.
Fun times.
Over there. We gotta keep moving.
So, freedom.
Run for your life.
You can change your party as you please now. And I suggest you do.
How do I change them?
Status, no. I think it's in paradigms. Yeah, should be. It's
Get away from my son.
So now you have access to every role with every character. Though I have to say, I do warn you that the secondary roles for each character takes more Crystarium points to level. However, I would advise you to start leveling Lightning as Saboteur and Fang as Ravager. Not because Fang is going to do much in terms of magic, but Tri-Disaster is a really great paradigm, which is 3 Ravagers.
Yeah, the triple Ravager. I was just thinking about that. I was looking at that one for Relentless Assault.
And Lightning as Saboteur allows for a really great paradigm set, which is Saboteur, Ravager, Sentinel. So you have hope in this set. You would have hope as Ravager, Lightning, who has the same debuff set as Vanille, as Saboteur, and Fang doing Sentinel. So Lightning and Hope keep the chain up. Hope makes the chain go up. Saboteur, Lightning keeps it in place, and Fang is tanking. It's a really great paradigm set that works wonders with these 3. So yeah. So but it's going to take you. That's why I told you that at a certain point in the story, I'm going to give you homework.
Yeah. Oh.
Because what you're going to really like is Lightning. No, as a Saboteur. Lightning as a Saboteur. You will see that these secondary roles take more Crystarium points than the others, but it's worth going the pain for the outcome. I think I would actually recommend you. No, to be well, depends. I'm thinking ahead of myself because of what's coming, and I'm thinking paradigms. Because in the coming boss battle during last year's run, I wiped like 4 times.
Oh jeez. If you wipe damage.
No, I mean, I found a way to. Don't buffer. I found a way to come through, but it required me to change team and change strategy, and yeah, had to go through that battle. Had to go Fang, Hope, Vanille. Mostly because you need this spell, though you have this spell with Fang, I think. So perhaps you don't need, but you don't have poison yet with Fang.
No, not with her, no.
I say poison because that's what poison saved me. I actually won that fight because of poison. It was really anticlimactic. You haven't upgraded your weapons in a while, though.
No, I haven't. I've been waiting.
Back me up.
It's an electric bomb.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And you haven't said the paradigms, haven't you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
See?
True. I mean, I'm not used to Solidarity, though I could be using Solidarity more when I play. But I'm not used because I need how to explain it. If you're running with that's going to explode and it's going to hurt. If you're running I mean, this is 5th arc is the point in which I can make hope into my. Where the fuck did that thing come from? There was only 1 or 2.
Nah, there's only 1, and then it came back.
Okay, I'm not going to ask. I was going to say, 5th arc is the moment in which I'm able to to move Hope as party leader. And the moment you do that, because of his low HP and because the nature of this game, which you wipe it, if leader dies in a wipe, I have to be quite careful with the partings I choose, which has made me a bit not inflexible with paradigms, but you're going to have more leeway because you're running Lightning as leader. She endures more than Hope does, even though she's second to last. She has the second lowest HP in the game, amusing as it may seem. You're trying to find the way around the elegant bots, right?
Yeah, there isn't one.
And there wasn't. I'm checking the hour just in case, because for some reason I feel like we've been going for a long time. And we've been going for a long time, but it didn't feel, at the same time it didn't feel like that. It's weird.
Yeah, it went really quick this time.
I'll deal with you.
Hope saving the day again.
Oh yes.
Bring it on.
Also, there's one quirk. Well, it's one quirk, and in this situation in which you're running Lightning as leader, it's really useful. You know, I don't know if I told you this, but the characters, their AI, of course, the AI prioritizes the situation in which they act. But at the same time, they also have quirks relating to their character and their relationship or bond or whatever with other characters. And sometimes they can play to your benefit or can get in the way. In Hope's case, he prioritizes healing and buffing Lightning, which if you're running Lightning as a leader, works really nice. But if you're running Hope as a leader, sometimes you just want to, can you please just stop overhealing Lightning and heal yourself?
Yeah, right.
Which is also very in character with Hope. Tactical nuke. So there's another perk of having Hope in your team while Lightning is the leader. One thing is that you're going to have Hope tell you where when an ambush is coming or a boss fighting is coming, because Sixth Sense. Hacks.
To make us stronger so we can destroy Cocoon.
Basically, you got.
All this time, I thought these arcs were stories.
Basically, having the hacker kid on your side.
I do like that.
You may have probably noticed, and well, not sure if you've noticed, but you probably realize at this point that Hope is a strange knack for machines. I'm not going to say. I use the word strange, not knowing exactly what I sort of mean, in terms of it's not just your common nerd. He is a nerd, a machine nerd. There's no discussion about that. But if you recall the Dreadnought episode in the Biopics.
Chibi Clue 2 says, when I run non-lightning leader for most of the later game, I drop auto battle entirely.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I did that for the final boss in 13-2. But that was... that was that how to explain it? I wiped in that battle, like in the lower, in the later parts of that battle, and when I dropped out of battle, I went for the most part manual commands, which yeah, and it was still a 29-minute fight. Though to be fair, I didn't. 13.2 is more thought to explore and grind. The main story quest for 13.2 isn't that long, and I grinded very little. So the final boss, at the level I tackled it, it's something that not recommended. But can be done. I mean, because I did it. If I did it, it can be done. In 13.2, I'm not going to say it's going to be homework, but I'm sort of going to give you leeway to explore and do things if you want. It's more like it gives more completionist freedom in a sense, more freedom to grind too. But I don't like grinding, so. And when I did the Lord I run, the last thing I wanted was to stall too much in 13.2. Not because I don't like the game, it's just that of the trilogy is my least favorite. Again, least favorite doesn't mean I don't like it.
True.
The thing with 13.2, which I'm likely going to get a bit ahead of myself. The thing with 13.2 is sometimes some more or less what happens to Stormblood, in the sense that it's an expansion that serves as a bridge. You don't really get the entire picture of that bridge without the other side of the bridge. In this case, it was Shadowbringers and Walker in a sense, but I count Shadowbringers and Walker kind of in the same pack, kind of. But here it was the case. 13.2.
Time for another approach.
Narratively speaking, you need line returns to appreciate 13.2. I mean, to really appreciate the narrative. You can do it. I mean, it's an enjoyable game either way, but it can be confusing too if you don't have the last part of the trilogy. And then in the last part of the trilogy, the localization made that big ass mistake that messes things up more than. Anyways, I'm going to be salty forever about that.
Oh no! Please tell.
No, I mean, don't worry about that, because I have the original script and the original voice, the original Japanese voice acting for this thing, for that. I did that in the Lord I Run. I shared the thing before before the end game segment, so I could explain what's the thing, what confuses people about line returns and irks me in particular.
Got it.
So I do have the material. Don't worry about that. And I know, just because I know Nila's reaction last year when I shared this with the original script, and I know there's one part in the original script that you're going to flip out.
So, question: would this be a good stopping point for the stream?
If you find, it would be, I would say yes. Yeah, it's a good point. Because if not, you're going to end up. If not, you're going to run into boss battle, then clearing the arc, and it's going to land you into likely 7 hours of stream.
Oh jeez. Okay.
Because that's what it took me from the point you started today, which was with Sazamani on the Palomitia. I went to through the entire arc and went to the next location, and it was 7-hour stream. So I dubbed you. We don't want that. So yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. Let's go ahead and stop here then.
Yeah, I'm going to put the closing room here. So yeah. I think I have a sense that this episode gave you a lot of thought, room for thoughts. And then there was my lore of sorts background explanation that surely helped to give more brainworms. But yeah.
Yeah, it's got me curious. I want to know more.
That's great. Perhaps now you may want to. No, well, it's not that the data log is going to tell you more than you already know, but it can be useful to navigate when you start getting into the. Right now, you were telling earlier that I feel like we were approaching the climax of the game, and I'm like, sort of, but not exactly the highest point. It's
this is like the beginning of the climax.
Yeah, exactly. Well said. So yeah, so close the stream if you want, Cobb.
Okay. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Had a really good time. Thank you again for the raids we got today. It's the first time we've had those raids, so we really appreciate it. And I believe we will be streaming other things later this week. I know we're doing Guild Wars 2 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And Data Center Travel is coming tomorrow to 14. So
tomorrow?
We will probably start running... Yeah, tomorrow. So we will probably start running stuff as a group shortly, and you can watch us all planned out.
Meowth is no longer marginalized.
Well, no, you still are, because it's limited to Mega Region, so NA stays within NA, EU stays within EU.
I hate my life. I mean, I sort of expected this would happen, but yeah. No.
But it's coming, so soon, someday.
Yeah, soon, someday. Don't expect me out.
But you can always start a new character fresh on Crystal.
I could, I guess, considering I already have like 26 of them.
Yeah, what's one more?
So yeah, anyways.
Well, thank you again, everybody.
Thank you again, and have a good night. And
and have a good, happy, safe 4th of July if you're in the States, or July 5th if you're in Europe or beyond.
Yeah, we're like almost 4 hours ahead of freedom, so yeah.
Hey, the Sky War starts and ends tonight, so our assault on the sky.
That's an interesting metaphor for Europe. 4 hours ahead of freedom.
All right. Well, have a great night.
Have a good night.